Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Weather Fans Live here on Sunday, the 25th of January 26, and it's only 11 months till Christmas. Shoot me now. Hope you all had a wonderful, nice week and so forth. And apologies for the no stream last week. It turned out it was an indication of me being under the weather, shall we say. I just went over a nasty cold all last week, but thankfully by the end of Friday I was feeling a lot better, and hopefully that's going to be it for the season. It won't be, will it? So again, apologies for the no live from last week and the radio silence as well on the social media channels. So let's go straight into the chat and say hello to you all, and I've just lost the comments. There it is. Let's try that again. He says, as it just kept flicking across. So the first person we had this evening was the wonderful Laura. Good evening, welcome everyone. Good evening to you. I hope you are all well. We've also got our mod, Paul James. Good evening to you, my friend. Hope you are well. And good evening to Matthew. Send it weather. Hope you are well as well. You know what I mean. Good evening to Andrew Marshall. I don't know why I went posh for, sorry. Hope you're well, Andrew. Andrew Marshall. Good evening to Joe Coffee. Hope you're well. What's up, Stormy? Gotcha. Here she is. Say hello, Stormy. There we are. You have a little mess around. You don't look happy, dear. There we go. Good evening to Lee Stevens. Yeah, Stormy was just looking at Seti going, who the bloody are you talking to? Did say Stormy before live saying no doubt your fans want to see you tonight. She's winding up the big cat who's just sat literally on the other side of the laptop. And yeah. I do digress. Andrew Marshall, my dad is not posh. I did tell you that. Good evening, Dad. Hope you are well. My cat's curled up into the Amazon box. She's been a pitter all week. Just don't send the Amazon box back, for goodness sake. So, it's been quite a wettish week, hasn't it, really? Mum knows it's been quite another wet month, which is like the third wet month in a row. I think so far through Moraine Gorge, we've had about over 80 millimetres so far this month. There's every potential we could top 100 before the end of Saturday to make it another wet one, which goes with the 146 we had in November, the 90 I had in December, and if we have another 100, it's just been an incredible wet 3 months. But we won't get the stats come out till probably next Tuesday, so it's still a while. And I'll have all that posted in about 2 weeks' time here on the live. So where do we go to first? Let's have a look at the observations out there right now. Oh, that's not the tab I was after. That's the tab I'm after. So it's fairly quiet out there, shall we say. Let's get that myself off the screen there. Good evening to Anne Smith. Hope you're well this evening. Did you miss Stormy? Did you miss Stormy? Yes, I think she's gone for something to eat at the moment. She's in the kitchen. No doubt she'll make an appearance again. So let's have a look at the current temperatures outside at the moment. So the minimum temperature we've got at the moment is 2 degrees over in Bingley and Emily Moore and Leeds Bradford Airport as well. So quite close to the Pennines, around where Sendet is as well. This kind of area. The maximum temperatures, we've got plenty of 8s around from northwest Scotland through west of Ireland, through southwest Wales and down into the Isles of Scilly as well. Then elsewhere, temperatures are ranging around from about 3 to 6 degrees. So Birmingham Airport at 5, Dunkswell at 4. We've got Southampton at 5, Andrewsfield at 5, Marham at 4, Rosthern at 5, Keswick at 5, Chatterhall at 4, Strathallan at 4, up into Northern Scotland, Almahara also at 5 as well, and also Wick at 4. So we're about the same temperatures across the board. Will you stop scratching the sofa, Stormy? You've got a scratch post there. Apologies for that. So yeah, sort of not looking, nothing too dramatic with the temperatures at the moment across the UK. We have still got the winds coming in from the east towards the north. Maybe these are showing more of a bit of a northeast to easterly across much of the UK, really. So we've got low pressure out towards the southwest. We've got high pressure up towards the north. We'll have a look at the synoptic charts now, actually. Let's flick over to the other tab, which hopefully is flicked across as well. James is saying it's 1 degree on the dot here. Yeah, I've had the same argument with my cat all week. Welcome to Cat Life. Yeah, the other cat doesn't do it at all. She doesn't seem to scratch the arm of the sofa, but this one seems to. Even though there's a scratch post that should be on my screen. Let's have a look at, I'll go back to the facts charts from the UK Met. So synoptic charts showing high pressure up towards North Iceland through into northern Scandi. We've got very deep area of low pressure out into the mid-Atlantic, and we're virtually in between the two, really. We've got east to northeasterly winds across much of the country right now. We did have an area of low pressure out towards the southwest, but that's virtually filled. It's actually set towards around about the Jersey, Guernsey area at the moment, but it's kind of died a death, shall we say, this low pressure. And it's just allowing us to bring in a gentle easterly wind. Nothing too dramatic with the temperatures. That was a few degrees lower than it was over the weekend. We've just got these few of these weather fronts, which is producing some showery rain across the UK. As we head into lunchtime tomorrow, there's a few more weak weather fronts out towards the west. It's drier further east. Winds are still coming in from a slight east-southeasterly, and more of a southerly towards Ireland. We've still got this deep area of low pressure out towards the mid-Atlantic, and 949 there still at lunchtime on Monday. Then it's looking very messy as we head through into midnight into Tuesday. Just give me a second while I let the big cat up. Stormy. I apologise about that. Stormy's one at the big cat who's now gone out of the room. So yes, apologies about that. Midnight into Tuesday, we've got a succession of weather fronts waiting in the wings. Going back to Monday lunchtime, there's a few down towards the southwest and as we head into midnight on Tuesday, they really seem to get the act together, and we've just got weather front after weather front after weather front. There's actually three lots of weather front there as a warm front moves up towards the north. With this weather front here, we could see a transient area of snow, perhaps more for higher ground like the Peak District, the Pennines, up into Scotland. We're not looking at widespread snow at all like we had about 2 or 3 weeks ago, which seems to be distant memory right now. But the air isn't just cold enough across the UK. As we're seeing, the temperatures are widely about 4, 5, 6 degrees. So it's just a more elevated areas that could see some snow. As we head into Tuesday, all these a mess of weather fronts continuing to progress towards the north. We're still bringing a bit of a southeasterly wind towards Scotland, but elsewhere we're looking more mild with milder with more southerly winds. And it's quite a deep area of low pressure showing there, 956. And we've got another low pressure out into the Atlantic as well. Going through into midnight into Wednesday, it's just a mess of weather fronts. More spells of rain and showers across the UK. And it's the same as we head through into Wednesday as well. There could be a bit of drier spell for parts of the UK into Wednesday lunchtime, but there's more weather fronts out in the Atlantic ready to move in through into Thursday, maintaining this unsettled weather. Again, towards northeast of Scotland, we're still looking at a very east to northeasterly. We're still getting this easterly wind up towards Iceland here, but we're on the Atlantic side, shall we say, of the weather. So let's go to the UKV and have a look what that brings us for the rainfall. So going through to right now. So as mentioned, there's shower bits of rain across the UK at the moment. Most of these will ease through the night. And as we head through into the afternoon, we've got this weather front moving in from the west. It's looking mostly a dry area for much of England and Wales, away from West Wales down towards the southwest. But eventually, as we head into the evening time, that band of rain will go through much of the UK. This is a bit stormy, not going too far towards the east, and this is heavier bursts going through southern counties as we head into midnight Tuesday. And it seems to be quite a wet start to Tuesday for many areas. Again, we could see that transient of snow, perhaps the high ground of the Pennines, Peak District. I think short time for the Peak District, to be honest, before turning to rain again. Then we could see a bit of snow, perhaps for the Scottish Highlands as well. Then during the day on Tuesday, there could be some heavy showers that could break out. I don't see any thunder potential for these through into Tuesday. There's plenty of heavy showers again overnight into Tuesday into Wednesday. Then looking at this at the moment, Wednesday's looking the drier day away from western areas. There's a few hints of some showers, perhaps for East Anglia through into Wednesday, before more showers move up from the south on Thursday, and perhaps more of a shower band coming through into the early hours on Friday, but details to be firmed up as we go through the week. Let's go straight on to the latest GFS from this afternoon's lunchtime run. So let's look at the upper air temperatures. So you may have heard in the news that the US are having a major winter storm this weekend, and it's just due to this quite large cold plunge coming out of Canada. You've got the -20 isotherm, perhaps even coming into New York. I'm not too sure how much of America is showing here, but it's this temperature difference between here and here which is really fueling up the jet stream. If I bring the jet stream up right now, if it wasn't for this jet stream, we would be tucking into the cold air towards Scandi right now, but it's this temperature contrast which is really putting through a powerful jet stream, setting more of a southerly track than normal. It's not actually barreling across the UK. There's actually, I'll just bring this forward, bring in lower pressure systems further south than normal. So there's a bit of a south shifted jet. We're seeing some of these low pressure systems coming across the UK, but not as powerful because it's getting blocked really by this higher pressure up towards Iceland and Greenland through up into Scandi. In turn is sending this jet stream much further south, literally through the Mediterranean. So they could be in for a bit of a turbulent week. How far we are now with these charts, we'll get into the last day of January next Saturday, and still jet stream is running towards our south. And it's not until we get into the start of February, there's perhaps some jet stream trying to cross the country, but it's still mainly south shifting this jet stream. Going back to the upper air temperatures. Wrong chart. That's better. As I mentioned, the colder air still sat towards our northeast, and we've got this cold air coming out of Canada, North America. So it's this temperature contrast which is spin up this area of low pressure, which is like I think 943, I think was shown on the FACS charts. But the cold air still stays up towards Scandi as we head through into Tuesday. We'll have a look at the snow risk actually. I don't think it's as much snow maybe as I mentioned a short time ago. Still looking quite blustery, looking to the winds coming up from the southwest through into Wednesday. Still parts of the northeast of Scotland, still bringing in that southeasterly cold wind as we head through into the weekend. That cold air is trying to get back in, trying to move its way back into the UK, but it's been held off with these low pressure systems out in the Atlantic. This latest run really tries to bring in the cold air from the east, so it could be the classic battleground scenario of the Atlantic versus the cold air coming out of Scandi. So going to see a part of next week. At the moment, this is showing that the colder air is winning off, but we've got this, because a storm system would be named storm system if this came off, battling. If that's going to hit the cold air, readily turn into snow. We'll have a look at that in a moment. So it could be a bit of a snow event there before turning less cold, days 10 to 14. And as that low pressure moves into the near continents, there's again signs of cold air trying to return again, but it's the Atlantic trying to make inroads there's a cold air win off here. Looks like the cold air does actually win off right at the back end of this midday run. Look at the snow depth, the snow depth potential of this actually. So there's still a bit of snow towards the Scottish Highlands where they've had some snow across the Scottish mountains, where we've had that southeasterly through much of back end of last week. So this is the weather from coming through Tuesday. So I did mention about the Peak District, but this isn't really showing that. So it's perhaps more for northern Pennines into the Scottish Highlands. Tuesday into Wednesday. There's perhaps a few hints there going into the back end of the week, but there could be some on the very highest routes of Wales there to Friday. I think start of the early part of February, where start to see that cold air returning potentially. So there's a few hints there of some snow perhaps over the Pennines there through into days 8 and 9, and for Wales as well. There's potential there on day 10. Through parts of the Midlands, could see a tiny bit of snow with that weather front moving in. So there's that low pressure moving into the cold air. We're not showing too much significant depths. But looking up towards the Scottish mountains, we're expecting at least 30 centimetres potentially there for day 14. Well, if that was to come off there, what we're now talking 15 days away, perhaps a snow event there for the Midlands if that was to come off. We're interested in the Fantasyland land there. We're talking about a good 20 centimetres, but that's we're in the fantasy lands of the predictions. Looking at the wind gusts for this week. A bit too. So there's brief east to southeasterlies at the start of the week. There could be a spell of some gales out towards western Scotland. Elsewhere, we're looking about 20 to perhaps 40 mile per hour wind gust. Monday into Tuesday. Tuesday night, you could see almost strong wind into gale force for much of the UK, actually, early part of Tuesday. And these will turn to about 60 mile per hour gusts for Scotland. So there could be a yellow warning. I'm not checked the warnings, to be honest. Could be a yellow warning for the wind. Nothing too significant with that at all before calming down a bit through into Thursday and Friday. So the wind's nothing too significant apart from when we get this weather front coming through into Tuesday. I won't go any further than the first. With the likes of the temperatures, move that back through to now. Some actual temperatures through into tomorrow. We're looking around about 5-6 degrees for much of the UK, around about so nothing too significant. Weather starts to move in, so the Atlantic air starts to move in. We'll start seeing this to rise and perhaps into double figures for some areas through into the early parts of Tuesday. Looking for around about 0 to about 3 still in the north. looking around about 6 to 9 elsewhere across the country. Maybe a touch of frost there Wednesday morning. Again, Wednesday, parts much of the north, around about 1 to 5 degrees. Further south, we're looking around about 5 to 9 degrees. On Thursday, it's looking a bit more of a chillier day, which is shown on this GFS run, looking wildly between 1 and 4 degrees. So Thursday's looking a lot chillier. I think that's where we start to see that easterly coming back in again temporarily. And it's just the southwest where temperatures remain into the high single digits, perhaps into double figures, down towards Cornwall. That'll take you through to the end of Saturday. Again, we're looking a bit cooler towards north and shall we say less cold towards central southern areas, range from about 6 to 9 down there, about 1 to 4 elsewhere. Right, I'm just going to put my head back into the chat and just see how everyone is doing. There I am. Let's go back up the chat. How have I been rattling on that long? I've had to go right near the top of the chat. Good evening to Steffi. Hope you're well, Steffi. That 942 looks rather menacing. Is it heading for us? Do we know? Not exactly, no. We've got another area of low pressure spinning up, which was showing on the facts charts, but it's going to bring us a lot of wet weather really through into Tuesday into Wednesday. But for the main system staying out and towards the mid-Atlantic, which that low pressure has been fueled by that temperature contrast coming out of North America and Canada. Going down. Good evening to James 098, one of our mods. Hope you're well, my friend. Good evening to Froglegs Matthew. Nice to see you, my friend. Yeah, what else have we got this evening? Yeah, Matthew, that old jet stream is strong. Everyone flying from America should get here in about an hour. Yeah, looking, I think it's about costing about 2 to 230 miles per hour coming out of America with that huge temperature contrast. I've seen some images coming out of America right now. I know Reed Timmer was been doing some posts on his page where he's in Mississippi, and we've literally got tree branches snapping. There's been power outages because of the ice. Some of it's been like a good inch thick in some places. Talking about America, in other news, the US toll rolls have become currency again. Oh, that's crap. Bad gag, isn't it, really? James is hogging all the snow again. Must be one of your snowiest winters for a while, isn't it, James? I want some snow. Let's see what happens. It is looking like still that battleground between the cold and Atlantic air. Who wins? Well, I mean, know when it arrives, don't we, really? Well, you're saying happy Burns Night to those who celebrate it. Yeah, happy Burns Night to those that celebrate it. Getting towards the bottom end of the chat. James saying it's been incredible up here this winter so far, especially the first week of January. And however, it's also been a pain. So you can definitely say you've had a winter up there this year, can't you? Instead of the mild that we seem to get plenty of recently. Excuse me. Before I move on to the normal look at the ECMWF weekly anomaly charts, funny enough, literally exactly what I'm just coming on to now. Any news on the strat? Let's have a look at the latest strat from. Actually, I need to help with a screen share, wouldn't it? Really, that would be the biggest help for anybody. There have been some rumors of the strats warming up, so we'll have a look what's going on. Let's bring the screen share up. Let's take that turn the comment off there so you can see. There we go. Let's put myself off so we put full screen. So this is the latest from the GFS 12Z predictions. So we're seeing a bit of warming up towards the Russian side. Of the Northern Hemisphere. I couldn't think what it was. Look out there. Heading through this week. As we're heading through midweek, we start to see a bit of another warming coming out towards the Atlantic side from America through the Atlantic. Then what happens through into next weekend? These slight warmings either side starts to push against the polar vortex across the North Pole. And what this is doing is really putting pressure on the PV. And we are actually starting to see a split of the PV. So we've got the warm over the UK. We've got another warming over towards the Pacific side, Northern Hemisphere, and we start to see the PV split. So that there goes the blues. And as we end this run, we'll start to see a split of the PV. Could this be the end of the polar vortex? Far too early to say yet. And will it affect the UK weather? Again, this is far too early to say at this stage because it's right at the back end of Fantasyland of the chart. If I show you the 6 o'clock run from the GFS, it's virtually the same, just perhaps a minor difference. So again, there's that slight warming towards the Russian side of the Northern Hemisphere. Then we get that other warming from America through the Atlantic. Through into the next weekend, it starts to squeeze up against the PV. And this also shows the split happening. And this will show more of a warming compared to the latest run. But coming towards the back end of this run, you start to see more of the oranges starts to appear. And the PV completely split there. I said, could this be the sign of the PV saying goodbye maybe for this winter? I said, we'll find out this time next week. We'll have a better idea, really, if I'm honest with you. but there is going to be a lot of pressure being put on the polar vortex for this winter. So we'll take a look at that next week, see how that's played out. We could come look at it next week, and could be a bit of mind warming, and the PV just remains intact. We shall see indeed. Steph is saying that run looks odd because there's no significant warming, yet the main vortex appears to split into two. I'm beginning to wonder because you're getting warm from both sides, and it's just like pinching it, and it's just putting that pressure on. Normally, you get warming from one side, which is enough to push itself into the North Pole. But when if you're getting this warming on literally both sides of it, and just pinching together and just breaking it up like that, really. That's what I could think of at this moment in time. Right. What we'll go to next, we're going to have a look at the ECMWF weekly anomaly charts. Let's bring that up. There we go. So, wow. That's clear as day, this. So this is the ECMWF weekly anomaly charts. This is the mean sea level pressure. The turquoisey colors, the darker they are, the stronger the area of low pressure is. Darker pinks is the stronger of the higher pressure. So what we're seeing here, we've got low pressure deep across the UK into the Atlantic. We've got high pressure up towards north of Iceland through northern Scandi. And what this is showing, we're looking bringing more of a southeasterly flow. So we see on the charts, it's more towards Scotland. We're seeing a bit more of an easterly, southeasterly, and low pressure slap bang in charge across the UK, keeping that cold air out bay. Heading into the first week of February, the 2nd to the 9th, not much change really. Still got that strong air of low pressure across the Atlantic into the UK, and virtually looking at the same thing. Perhaps easterlies up maybe for the northern Scotland, where James is, where he's probably getting more snow if anything heads his way. And we're looking a bit more of a southeasterly, perhaps it's probably a bit more of a transient, shall we say. It's getting a bit of a southerly, southwesterly, perhaps at times. But as these are the anomaly for the whole week. So there could be areas of low pressure coming up, then moving away again with that high pressure up towards north. The 9th of February through to the 16th of February. Again, we've still got high pressure up towards North Iceland. This is shifted a bit further west. So perhaps northern Scotland there could see a bit more of a northeasterly perhaps kicking in there. We're still seeing the potential there of a easterly, but got low pressure there, which is going to still bring up some weather fronts. Perhaps again get deflected back into the Atlantic for the middle of February. 16th of February through to the 23rd of February. Again, we've still got low pressure towards the Atlantic into the UK, so there's not really no change there at all. And signal weakens as we head into the start of March. So let's have a look at the same charts again, but this time with the precipitation. So it's no surprise with low pressure in charge. We are seeing wetter than average conditions across much of the UK. There's showing hints of dryness towards the northwestern side of Scotland. The 2nd of February through to the 3rd, 2nd of February through to the 9th of February. Much of England and Wales is looking wetter than average, but much of northwestern Scotland into Northern Ireland are looking drier than average. So perhaps some of that northern blocking is perhaps reaching a bit further south, perhaps into the northern Scotland. Whereas down towards the south, we're seeing those low pressure systems keep bringing up those weather fronts. And the 9th to 16th of February, we're looking around about average there, but still looking drier than average for Scotland, perhaps even to northwest England, perhaps North Wales as well, through much of Ireland. And then the 16th to the 23rd of February, we're looking right about less than average again, and towards the end of the month. And finally, the 2-meter temperatures. We're looking slightly more than average from central areas southwards. Then elsewhere, we're looking around about average. There's a few hints of coldness there for northeast Scotland through to parts of Ireland. The 2nd of February through to the 9th of February, looking around about average, but perhaps slightly cooler than average towards Scotland, and again to Ireland. The 9th of February through to the 16th of February, it's actually shown us being cooler than average. Not very often, not often we'll see cooler than average across the UK. The 16th of February through to the 23rd, again, we're looking slightly cooler than average. And coming back towards the last week of February, looking around about average across the UK. But signals getting weak. We're looking again average for the start of March. Let's go back onto the chat. Where do we get to? Oh, if we've gone a bit too far back up the chat, just bear with me a second. Good morning to, who's that, Alf Duna? I'm guessing maybe from somewhere east of Asia, I'm guessing. Hope you're well. Matthew's saying, I'll see you all later. I want to thank you, Matthew, for popping in. Take care, my friend. Southeast tilt, the wind's not good for here. The vortex only warms when it slows down and air sinks. It could be that it's passed by 2 sets of Rossby waves, one each side of the vortex, which is slowing 2 sections of it down. Could possibly be. Yeah, it looks like another soggy week by the looks of it. Not looking too bad. Obviously, there's going to be some showers and longer spells of rain coming through. And I don't know if the river levels are the same everywhere else, but our river levels ran fairly high. It just takes a bit of rain, it's just going to flood. But river levels are still quite high around here. only 1 week from Groundhog Day. I think there's that more of a myth, really. I don't think it's a true representation of it happening. Or is that just my thoughts? February is a shorter month. Yeah, it just seems like January seems to go on forever. Feels like it's Sunday the 42nd or 48th of January, doesn't it? But as soon as February comes, that just seems to fly away, and we're in meteorological spring and the start of storm season 26. And hopefully this year will bring us better storms, which I did say last year because the year before was rubbish as well. We can't get a triple, can we? Triple poor storm season. I'm not going to jinx it. Can't jinx it. I think I might end it there. So just give you a few minutes to say your goodbyes. It's good to be back on the live again. So last week, I must have known something was coming on because I felt absolutely exhausted, and virtually Monday I just felt crap, to be honest. Come down with a really cold. I just never seemed to want to shift till the back end of Friday. Steph is saying, same here, rivers still overflowing into floodplains, so even the short rain causes bursts. Short rain bursts causes the surface water to let, yeah. Because I'm not sure if any of your rivers flow into the river where you are, flows into the River Anchor, but that's the river that flows virtually below me, really. And it's just so sensitive to any significant, even if you have 10 millimeters, just might just completely flood over. It's just almost like on that north edge, just a little bit of rain, it's just going to topple over. Thank you to Matthew. Thanks, Mark. Good night to all. Good night to you, my friend. And saying that York is on flood alert. Been a great stream. Hopefully Gav is better for his next live streams too. Oh, Gav has been suffering as well. I've not been on Discord for much this week because I've just felt crap myself. I'm just hope it's nothing too serious. Hopefully it's just maybe just a bit of like the cold flu, nothing significant, severe. Bless Gav. Goodbye, Matthew. Thank you so much. The frogs have left the building. Good night to Andrew Marshall. Oh, he's lost his voice. How can he do his lives without his voice? Oh, bless him. Get well soon, Gav, if you ever watch this back at some point. Thank you for the live stream. You may roll as credits. I shall do it in just a second. I'm about to sneeze here. Hold that back off. Thank you to Paul James and James for giving on the proceedings in the chat. Thank you so much to you both. Hope you both have a good week. Thank you to Laura as well. Catch you all next week. Yep, same time, same place, 8 p.m. As long as we're all in full health. You never know. I could get down with another goal next week. You just don't know, dear. There's so much going around. Good night to Audio Coffee. Nice the weather this week, and the fun will probably bring, yes, if you like, more rain. I think we need a bit of a dry spell because while we're now, so 146. 146 to about 250. So I reckon in the last 3 months I've had about nearly 350 millimeters of rain. easy over 300 millimeters of rain since the start of November. Be interesting to see what, well, firstly, the stats are for January and also for winter so far. Therefore, perhaps potentially one of the wettest winters on record. Definitely perhaps in the top 10, I reckon. Have a good rest of the evening, James. And let's end it there. Thank you all so much for watching. And I shall see you next Sunday, 8 p.m. Thank you all for tuning in. Take care. Stay safe. Take your umbrella. Ciao for now. Bye-bye.